KFI, Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer at your service. I'm so glad you joined me this morning. We are having an all-calls weekend. Nothing but your calls today and tomorrow. So you get to decide what the show is about today. The number to reach me, 833-2-ASK-DEAN. 833, the number 2-ASK-DEAN. Anything you want to talk about regarding your home. Landscape, interior, design, architectural design, interior design, decorating design, you name it, construction issues, the way your house is built, DIY questions. Oh my gosh, I could just go on and on. Anything you want regarding your home, I'm here. Let's talk. I love talking to you about your home, and I love it when we set aside every few weeks a weekend and just take calls. Oh, it's so lovely. We're going to get back to the phones in just 1 sec. But before we do, time for this.
It's time for another House Call with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer.
Today's house call brought to you by WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. You know what? I'm just going to go off of the subject that I raised earlier with our previous caller for today's house call, and that is this. A custom home is not necessarily a luxury home. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. What's the most important thing about a custom home, a custom remodel, a custom design for you is that you find the right fit for your lifestyle, the way you operate. Let's take the kitchen, for example, the way you cook. Whoever the cook is in the family, this is how we always say this in our design business. They get to design the kitchen because the kitchen needs to function the way you need it to. And the same holds true when it comes for picking appliances. You might want or need the highest of the high end, or you might be totally happy with something mid-range because you know what, these days all appliances are pretty dang good appliances. So just keep that in mind. Kind of reject the notion of keeping up with the Joneses. I just want you to keep up with yourself. That's all when it comes to designing your kitchen and picking out the machines that are going to serve your life best. And of course, every appliance known to mankind can be found at your local WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Go to WDCappliances.com for more info. All right, it is time to return to the phones. Let's talk to Tim. Hey, Tim, welcome home.
Hi, Dean. Thanks for taking my call. So I have an upstairs bathroom that's a 6x8. And the floor over time, the subfloor's gotten spongy because it got wet. So I want to take that out and put down some tile. So my question is, if I take it out, then obviously I'm going to cut around the perimeter and near the border and then remove that old plywood. But when I put down the new plywood along with the concrete sheetrock for the tile, I want to maintain the right height. The code, is there a minimal that you can make the plywood and obviously a minimal for the concrete sheetrock? And should I put something between the joists to strengthen it?
Okay, lots of good questions here, my friend. You know what? This is such a good question, Tim, that I'm going to put you on hold because we're up against a break, I just noticed. And when we come back, let me address that on a couple of different levels with you. What to do, because you asked a couple of different questions here. There's the replacing of the spongy floor, then there's also the adding of tile, and then the matching of that tile in floor height to whatever's coming down the hallway. Am I getting that right?
You got it.
All right, let's talk about that when we return. We're going to dive into Tim's call. We're going to solve some problems for a lot of people all at once. You're home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Brian Berman has the news.
First Lady Jill Biden is spending Mother's Day weekend along the Ukraine border in Slovakia and Romania, meeting with refugees.
To welcome all these refugees into their homes and offer them food and clothing and shelter and give them their hearts. And it's, I think the world knows that, and so thank you.
Biden spoke at the U.S. Embassy in Romania, where she received a briefing on humanitarian efforts from UN agencies, NGOs, and the Romanian government. News brought to you by Duffy Power Services. The man accused of assaulting Dave Chappelle on stage at the Hollywood Bowl has pleaded not guilty. A judge ruled yesterday the man must stay at least 100 yards away from Chappelle. The LAPD had booked the man Tuesday night for assault with a deadly weapon because he had a replica handgun with a knife blade attached to it. The LA County DA's office declined to file felony charges and handed it to the LA city attorney, who filed 4 misdemeanor charges. If the man is found guilty on all counts, he could get 18 months in jail. The South Coast Air Quality Management District is trying to sell shipping companies in Southern California on clean energy trucks. The agency's Aaron Katzenstein says the region needs an immediate drop in emissions.
We need actually thousands of trucks to be turned over to near zero and zero emission trucks.
Katzenstein, says the AQMD is offering financial incentives to replace diesel trucks with their clean energy counterparts. The AQMD held a showcase yesterday of several clean energy vehicles and equipment. And the horse Zandon is the top draw for the Kentucky Derby. The horse Epicenter is in the number 2 spot. Other horses to watch for include Taiba, Modenagal, White Abario, and Messier. These are expected to be 20 horses in the field for today's fastest 2 minutes in sports. Now taking a look at KFI traffic, we've got a crash on the 210 in San Bernardino.
Yeah, that's going eastbound right at Del Rosa Avenue. I've been telling you about this crash involving a semi. It overturned and it's blocking those 2 left lanes. And like I said, traffic is definitely building. 21 minutes in that area right now. You're going to be kind of backed up from Highway 259. My suggestion is that you transfer over to the 215 before this whole thing, or you can possibly take the 10, the 60, or just the street. KFI in the Sky helps you there faster. I'm Ellie Majors.
I want to tell you about the good folks at Aldic Home. In business for more than 60 years, Aldic is Southern California's premier Christmas and holiday shopping destination. That's because Aldic is the unrivaled masters of lifelike silk flowers and decorative trees and all of those one-of-a-kind accessories and finishing touches for your home. But did you also know that Aldic Home also carries the finest custom outdoor furniture? More than 20 different lines and settings of summer classic. Now, how good is summer classics? You got to come and see for yourself. Aldic doesn't even want you to buy it. They just want you to come down and experience it. Take a test drive and, well, a test sit. Hang out, bring the fam, then go anywhere else and compare your experience. Aldic knows you will come back for the highest grade of teak, aluminum, woven resin furniture anywhere. You're going to find Aldic on Sepulveda Boulevard in Van Nuys and on the web at aldichome.com. That's ALDIK home.com. Southline weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog, then sunny by the afternoon. Partly cloudy in some places. Low to mid-60s at the beaches. Low to upper 70s in Metro LA and OC. Mid-70s to low 80s in the inland valleys. And upper 70s to mid-80s in the Inland Empire. We lead local. Live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Brian Baruman.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/join. Ramp.com/join. ramp.com/join.
We've got your new AC, and we're ready to install it.
Kenny anticipated those supply chain problems and built a bunch of new Gettle systems before the prices jumped up.
Buy a new Gettle today, and we'll install it tomorrow. Gettle, GOE-TTL.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. In 2022, where is your best chance at finding the appliances you need at the best price, in stock, and ready to deliver? WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Go to WDCappliances.com, WDCappliances.com.
Next time someone says, "Where's should we eat? Tell them you want Sizzler, because their share baskets are just $5.99. And if they don't know what share baskets are, tell them tasty bites of happiness the whole table can enjoy. Like potato skins topped with cheddar, bacon, and steak for $5.99. Basket of shrimp, $5.99. Golden calamari, still just $5.99. Yes, when someone asks, where are we celebrating Mother's Day? Tell them you want Sizzler. Share baskets $5.99 with purchase of entree or salad bar.
This is Jacob and Ronnie. If you've been in an accident, call 844-24-JACOB.
KFI.
AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 and live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You're home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Hey, thanks for joining us on the program this morning. We're doing an all-calls weekend, nothing but your calls. You get to decide what the show is about today, except, of course, not politics or anything like that. Home stuff, home things, anything about your home. Construction issues, design questions, decor questions, whatever it may be. I'm here to help. Let me help you out. The number to reach me, 833-2-ASK-DEAN. That's the number. The phone lines are open. Let's go back to the phones. I want to go back to Tim. So let's get Tim back on the line. Tim, you there, buddy?
I'm here, wallet in hand, right outside Home Depot, waiting on you.
Oh, my goodness. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure, man. All right, so Tim has got a bathroom remodel that he's doing, and tell me if I'm wrong about this. So he had some water damage, so the subfloor, that's the plywood underneath everything, got spongy, got to get that replaced, and so he had questions about what do I put back, what thickness should I put back, how do I match this floor to the other stuff coming down the hallway as far as height is concerned, and what level, since you're doing tile, what kind of concrete backer board are you going to lay down on the floor? So, here we go. Number one, my friend, one thing that I like to do, because I think it just helps the general, when your house was framed, the plywood, of course, was run in kind of a lapped pattern across the whole floor, and then the walls were built on top of it. So just because you're inside that room doesn't mean that you're at the end of your subfloor panel, right? And you're going to be cutting it all out in there. So what I like to do, in order to regain whatever structural sheathing strength is possible, is I like to, before putting in the new sheathing, the new plywood down, block the perimeter of the room. Okay. I don't worry about everything else, but I want to put blocking around the perimeter in between the floor joists, so that you get solid nailing and or screwing and gluing all the way around with the new plywood that you're now running just inside the room itself. So put the new stuff down, block all the edges of it. Now, as far as extra blocking or supports in between the joists, no, not. Unless there's joist damage, at which point you've got something far more extensive that you've got to deal with. The biggest part of your question that I think is important is how do you have the opportunity now to, based on the new tile that you're going to be putting in, to kind of control floor levels. So what have we got running down the hallway as far as finished flooring material, and what are you planning on putting in the bathroom here in terms of tile?
It's just carpet and a third carpet, that's all.
Okay, just carpet down the hallway, and then so you're going to want to keep, now carpet, of course, poofs up some, which is great. You want to keep that transition as smooth as possible, so you're going to want to set the tile as low to the subfloor as possible. Okay. You don't have to go to any extreme measures of like notching the joist. I don't want you to do that, or trying to put subfloor material in between the joists instead of on top of it. And you definitely don't want to compromise the thickness of the plywood, of the subfloor material. If you took 3/4 out, 3/4 inch, which is very likely exactly what you did, you want to put 3/4 back. The only difference is you want to use as thin a hardy backer or concrete backer board product. I say hardy backer because that's what we use almost always, as possible. So you put in some brand new, nicely secured 3/4 inch plywood, and then just use the 1/4 inch hardy backer. 1/4 inch hardy backer is designed to be used on floors when it's got a nice stiff floor underneath it, and that's going to lift your tile the lowest amount in elevation so that you make the best transition from it onto the carpet in the hallway.
Okay. Great. That's what I thought. Thank you so much. I can go in now. But last
All right.
you know that tool you use to cut the floor? It allows you to measure up your depth, and it's real small. I see it advertised on TV. Which one would you say is the best one to get?
I'm not sure I'm exactly following you. Which what are we talking about?
As I cut around the border, and let's say I'm cutting into 3/4 plywood, there's this little small tool that allows you to cut. Because obviously I won't be able to get a handsaw in there. I mean, that won't be practical.
Right, I got you. Well, there are various tools. There are small circular saws that can, of course, the depth be set that will get you within an inch of the edge. Small, battery. There are also, vibration tools like Dremels that have depth control on them as well. That may be what you're talking about. Typically, what we would use is we would use a Sawzall to cut that plywood, and then just be gentle as we know that we're going over the tops of the joist material so that we don't notch down into them. Or if it's not critical that you get absolutely right to the edge, you just set a circular saw to 1.5 inches, because it's going to be 1.5 inches off the wall. Set a circular saw to a 3/4 inch depth, and leave 1.5 inches of the existing subfloor material around the perimeter of the room. Don't worry about having to necessarily get absolutely right next to the line of studs. So hopefully, my friend, that'll work for you.
Good stuff, Dean. I'm on my way in. Look, take the rest of the day off with pay. Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks. Oh my gosh, I like this caller business stuff. I'm getting the rest of the day. All right, everybody. It's been good being with. No, all right. Are we? Yeah, let's take another. Art. Welcome home.
Yeah, I have a house that has gable ends on the east and west, and on the east side I have a solar-mounted exhaust fan that takes the hot air in and pushes it up. On the other side I have it's a thermostat-mounted one, and during the pandemic the thermostat ran out, so I just run wire up there and did a switch where I can switch it on from my garage. And I'd switch it on at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it would, get the hot air out of the house and out of the attic, and it worked real good. But now I'm probably going to look for a thermostat, but I think I'm wondering if there's anything wrong with doing what I did and keeping it like that, because I kind of like the idea of doing it by hand, by, whatever.
Yeah. Attic exhaust fans are a great way of cutting down on heating and cooling costs in a house because, the cooler the attic is, the more control you've got over that attic temperature, the less the house has to fight inside the interior of the house with what's going on outside. The attic is a nice buffer. So attic exhaust fans are a great idea. We're talking about an attic exhaust fan, not a whole house fan. That whole house fan draws from inside the house. An attic exhaust fan just blows air through the attic, hopefully drawing cooler air in and blowing the hot buildup air out.
Well, actually, I have both. I have a whole house fan, but it makes it kind of like a lot of noise. My wife is a late sleeper, and I try to do it at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I can do the one at the end with a switch.
Yeah. I hear you. So this is what I'm going to tell you, my friend. It's very simple, and that there isn't a code about what to do with an attic attic exhaust fan. Most of the time, they come rigged up to a thermostat, so that when the temperature gets up there on its own, automatically the fan turns on and does its job. But It's not a code-related thing. You don't even have to have an attic fan. That's why it's not a code-related thing. So, how you control your attic exhaust fan, totally up to you, my friend. Completely in your control. If you like the idea of having it on a switch down in the garage or down in the house so that you can flip it on and off whenever you want, go for it. Otherwise, buy another thermostatic control switch for it, mount that, and let it do its own thing. It's totally on you, however you want to live it. You see again, here we go back to custom homes, right? This is how Art wants to control his exhaust fan. There you go. As long as you're not violating a code or a safety issue regarding the code of a home, bend it to your will, my friend. There you go. All right. More calls when we return. You are home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Brian Barone has the news.
Well, French President Emmanuel Macron has been inaugurated for a second 5-year term. St. Louis is making a big push to bring thousands of Afghan refugees to settle in the city to offset decades of population loss. And President Biden says his administration has nearly exhausted funds already approved by Congress for military aid for Ukraine. He's urging the approval of $33 billion more. We're going to have a look at some some good news on the 10 next.
You've heard me say Sunlux and everyone else, right? When I come and say that there are only two kinds of solar companies in Southern California. Setting Sunlux aside, building it up, putting it up on a platform, giving it praise. The fact of the matter is, I actually feel that way about Sunlux. You know who else does? Tesla. Yeah, that Tesla. They have, for the first time, opened up their entire residential solar ecosystem. And they've done it only to a handful of trusted companies for each area that they sell. And guess who Tesla selected for Southern California? Yeah, among all the competition, Sunlux. Because they trust them. Sunlux and Tesla, it's a great partnership. That means that Sunlux has Tesla panels, the Tesla low-profile mounting system, which is amazing. It's a third less penetrations into your roof for mounting your solar panels, and the world's single most sought-after solar component, the Tesla Powerwall battery. Any solar company can order those for you, but Sunlux can actually get them for you. It all amounts to the most advanced solar in the industry, and it's waiting for you at Sunlux. Get the whole Tesla solar ecosystem, including Powerwall batteries, at sunlux.com. Sunlux.com. CXLB 1008374.
If someone asks, where should we celebrate Mother's Day? Tell them you want Sizzler, because their tasty share baskets are just $5.99. Yep, crowd-pleasing potato skins, shrimp, or calamari share baskets are only $5.99 with purchase of entree or salad bar. Mother's Day at Sizzler's. Done.
SoCal weather from KFI brought to you by Driveway.com. There's a wind advisory in the Santa Clarita Valley starting this afternoon. It's going to last throughout the weekend. This report brought to you by Sizzler. Taking a look at KFI traffic, a crash has been cleared on the 10 in downtown LA.
That's right. It's some good news going on the westbound side of the 10, right at Mateo Street, which is also Santa Fe Avenue. That crash earlier was cleared. CHP has left the scene and the ambulance as well as the tow. So you guys are back to completely normal speeds in that area. On the 10 going on the opposite side, the eastbound side at the Highway 60, there is a car that has sold out. It's blocking that right-hand lane, so CHP is holding that right-hand lane for right now to kind of get that vehicle off to the shoulder. And then on the 5 going southbound, right at the 170, there's a crash. A car hit the wall, so it's definitely going to be a lot of commotion.